Everything is going extremely well.
And now, showtime.
Welcome, everybody, to the show today. It's fantastic. I am so excited to see you all. I'm a new daddy again. We got a little baby boy. We can now say, well, he wasn't born yesterday. So anyway, let's get into it today. As always, we're going to start with a great lesson. We're going to dive into how Facebook works and the math behind why launching dozens or hundreds of ads is actually really bad. Plus, how the machine actually chooses who sees your ads. Plus, we're going to break down exactly how Andromeda does all of the picking. So we're going to debunk a bunch of nonsense, not with subjective views, but with objective facts based around how the software is actually designed to function and how the code is actually written. Then we're going to also dive into all of your questions for the week. And we're going to make sure that we save time for the comment section on every single one of the videos that we've had, I think, over the last week. And then we're also going to just show you an update on Disruptor tools because it's incredible. If you guys don't know about Disruptor tools, we'll get to all of that. But with all that being said, also shout out StreamYard now lets us do a vertical thing. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, we're showing comments on stage, no editing, full transparency to everyone. So let's get into it. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Just a little espresso. By the way, let me know where you're watching from, everybody. It's great to see so many new faces, so many new people. All right. So if you actually understand Andromeda, you will scale your meta ads faster than ever. Most advertisers think the algorithm is mysterious, unpredictable, or just flat out broken. But the truth is that Andromeda is the most powerful version of Meta's delivery system we've ever had. And it rewards people who keep things simple. And that flies in the face of what most people say, but that's because they have an agenda, right? So let me show you why. Now, Meta is not trying to show one ad to one person. It's trying to create the best possible experience for every user across everything you do, your ads, your pages, even your organic content, and what people do on and off your website. It's not about what ad gets the sale. It's about the entire customer journey with your business. And that means Meta is not testing ads one at a time. It's testing the entire user journey for your brand and everybody else, plus anybody else advertising. So here's what that looks like. If you run 5 ads, there are 120 different ways somebody could move through them. If you take 5 different variables, there's 120 different versions of that journey. If you have 10 ads, that number jumps to over 360 million. And if you have 52 ads, the size of a deck of cards, that number is so huge that it has 67 numbers in it. Like there are dozens of commas. And that's you're asking Meta to process every single day. And what I want you to understand here is, if we're on YouTube right now, right? So YouTube, I project out in 1080p. On my screen, if we just showed everything down to 1 pixel, and every second was millions of pixels because, 1080p plus 30 frames per second, this video would need to be around for longer than the entire length of the entire history of the universe, multiplied by a trillion, by a trillion, by a trillion. That's the number of possible ways that 50 ads can be shown to folks. The idea that you're asking the machine to be able to understand how to deliver a consistent result that's best for the end user with your ads based on anything other than who was the last touch point is ridiculous. And here's the wild part, right? Most advertisers make it harder by adding more ads, more campaigns, more rules, more audiences, and more changes all the time. And then they wonder why performance drops. It's a machine learning algorithm. You got to be focused on what you're teaching it. Now, here's the big misconception that I want to clear up as well. Most people think the pixel learns. The pixel doesn't learn. The pixel is just a piece of code. It's the paper that a vote is written on. It's not the system counting the votes. Now, here's why that matters. It's because your system learns. It's not about any one ad. Your Facebook page learns who interacts with it. Your Instagram account learns what type of content earns more attention and what your audience loves. Your ad account is learning who is buying and who doesn't based on your data set. Your website behavior teaches Meta what users have the highest purchase intent and who comes back and buys more and more often. All of that is a signal, and Meta uses all of that information to decide who should see what ad at what time and in what order. Good experiences create positive signals, and bad experiences, things like bounce rate, low quality clicks, refunds, people never buying again, frustrating landing page experiences, those make your ad account more expensive. Also, launching more ads so the machine can't figure out the best way to put people through a journey makes it more expensive. So the goal is simple. Show people things that they enjoy. That's what Facebook wants. Because if they enjoy what you show them, they'll stay on the platform longer and they'll come back more often. Especially if what you sell them is something they like and they come back and buy from you again and again. So let's zoom into your actual account structure, because this is where most people break the system. Your ad is what earns the attention. It's your sales pitch. Your ad set decides which ad to show and who to show it to. The ad set is the salesperson. The ad is the sales pitch. And the campaign sits above everything, deciding where your budget goes and which ad set gets priority. It's the sales manager choosing which salesperson gets to choose which sales pitch. When you constantly add new ads into a live ad set, Meta has to pause what it knows and test all the new variables and rebuild confidence from scratch. And that's why learning phases reopen. And that's why results bounce around. And that's why scaling is harder. And every time you launch new ads, you get good results for the first few days, and then they drop off entirely because all your new ads are just being launched at the bottom of the funnel, because that's the only place where Facebook knows how people are going to behave. Most people don't have a performance problem. They have a consistency problem. They're not letting the ads run consistently long enough for the machine to even know how to use them. Now let's talk about budgets. Every time you try to control something manually, splitting budgets, forcing ad sets, running ABO, or having dozens of campaigns, to spend a certain amount of money, running 10 campaigns, you only need one, for instance, you're making the system worse at doing its job that you're paying it to do, because you can't understand all of the touch points in that customer journey, right? Meta's advantage over humans is simple. It can see patterns across millions of impressions and billions of people in real time, and it has that information going back a decade, and not just in your ad account, but for every person's ad account and all the organic distribution. When you force budgets, you block that intelligence. You trap money in places that weren't working. You starve the ad sets that are working, and you create more bad experiences instead of letting the machine create more good ones. And that's why CBO and Advantage Plus will outperform manual control at scale every single time when it comes to growing a business and reducing CPMs and CAC, right? They give the machine the freedom to shift budget into what's winning automatically millions of times a day. And that's not a guess. It's a data-driven decision-making machine that happens at scale where no human can match. So here's the bottom line. If you want to scale, stop trying to be the algorithm. Stop trying to micromanage the machine. Stop adding complexity because it feels like control. Stop slapping Band-Aids on top of Band-Aids based on who gets credit for the last touch. Your real job is simple. Build a clean system. Give Meta clear goals. Feed it good data. Let it learn and trust it. Once it does, your job is to not need to micromanage it. If the only way you're successful is by taking credit for the entire funnel and by trying to smash all of your new ads at the bottom of the funnel, because again, that's the only space that Facebook knows how people are going to behave, so every ad gets launched there because that's how you test, then you're going to struggle. The advertisers who embrace this, who simplify, who focus and stop fighting the system are the ones who scale faster, cheaper, and further. The people seeing lower CPMs this year than last, lower CAC this year than last, and higher cash flow. Remember, simple scales, complex fails. That's it. And once you fully understand that, you're never going to look at Meta ads the same way again. And that's what this is really all about. If you're trying to control the system, launching more and more ads to find anything that can be the cup of water that somebody drinks the 25th mile, saying that's the reason they started the marathon, you're going to set yourself up for failure. The reason that ads fatigue constantly is because you constantly launch new ads. If you have 1,000 ads or even 100 ads in your ad account, there is no conceivable way for the machine to know the best possible customer journey through all of them. And then you're measuring performance based on ROAS or CPA, but that has nothing to do with the creation or maintenance of a customer journey. It's just, how did this new ad do it coming in at the 11th hour and taking credit for the entire thing? Now, you can launch more and more ads to outpace that fatigue, but one of the things that Andromeda has been doing is punishing more and more people for doing more and more of that work. There's a reason why everybody is saying the path is launching more and more ads, and it has nothing to do with that actually being better. Most of it has to do with ad agencies trying to take credit for the entire customer journey and also selling creative services. It has to do with the fact that when you launch a new ad, it looks better right away. So people that are struggling to get success just launch more and more ads to try to smash the bottom of the funnel, but they can be doing that exact same thing with broad retargeting. They're going to be having ads that run for a long period of time that learn how to create a consistent customer journey. And instead of focusing on the very first sale, they can focus on acquiring the customer that's worth more and more money. It's not about LTV. It's about second purchase rate. How many people can you get to buy from you more than once? How many times can you get the system to see that when somebody clicks on your ad, they go to your website, they enjoy the experience because it's optimized for that customer journey. And when somebody buys, they come back and then continue to engage with their content. Instead of blocking people that have bought from you from ever seeing your ads because you don't want to pay to acquire a customer twice, which is the dumbest thing ever. And I understand where it comes from because I used to teach that kind of stuff, before 2018, back when we had to worry about that. But now, when you say, I don't want the people who are happiest with my business to see my ads again. I don't want for the system to be able to take credit for and understand how to drive multiple transactions in my business. I don't want the machine to understand how to create a customer journey that is stable and predictable and projectable so that I see lower CPMs and reach a higher volume of good customer with the ads that I have. I would much rather work really, really hard to launch 1,000 ads at the bottom of the customer journey funnel and struggle to scale my business because I become more and more first order dependent. One of those things, Sing, don't worry, this is actually live. Yeah, look, you're just saying, is this live or pre-recorded? Boom. It's not pre-recorded, okay? One of these things will scale your business. The other will make you more and more dependent on launching more and more ads by fighting the machine more and more. And the argument that I've heard from so many people, including Jordan and all of these other folks, is that, well, the Meta rep said on this deck that we should be launching more ads and create adversity. And yes, you should. But it doesn't mean that you should be launching dozens and dozens of ads. It means that you shouldn't have all of your ads look and feel the same. That's what creative diversity is. And for the record, I have an interview with the head of one of the delivery departments behind the whole creative diversity project on the channel, and she said that exact same thing. Siobhan and I talked for nearly 45 minutes, and we put the whole thing up on YouTube. You can watch her say all of those things. It's not about launching dozens and dozens of ads. It's about making sure that your ads look and feel a little bit different so they can be complementary and reach slightly expanded pieces of the audience. It's not about finding new pockets of the audience to scale into. It's about letting your ads figure out who to convert, so they can find more and more of those people. If your ad has made 12 sales or 100 sales, do you think there's not 1,000 more people that will convert with that ad being part of their journey? No, that's ridiculous to think that that ad can't scale beyond that. I've had single ads that have driven tens or hundreds of thousands of transactions, and you can too. The number one thing standing in your way between having ads that are stable and results that get better over time and the ability to see lower CPMs and higher quality customer journeys so you can get customers that buy more and more often is you launching more and more ads to make the customer journey impossible to manage, impossible to test, and impossible to optimize. That makes you more and more dependent on launching more and more concepts to trick more and more people into buying once. You become more and more dependent on the first order profitability. Yes, it is completely on the customer journey and the product and the business model to improve LTV. But if the kind of customer that walks in your store is completely different with every single click, your ability to optimize for LTV is completely impossible. And the ability for the machine to understand who the best kind of customer is, so those are the only people that see your ads, is completely impossible. But once it does, once you've leaned into not trying to be a performance marketer who's hoping to not get fired and leaned into instead a growth marketer who's trying to build a business leveraging the smartest machine in the history of the humanity, understanding consumer behavior and conditioning it, you go from being a micromanager struggling to make ends meet to somebody building a business that's working less and less and less. There's a reason why the folks that go through the academy and the MBA program are running their ads on an hour or less a week and outperforming everybody else. Now, they're not scaling as fast, but that's okay. Here's the thing. Do you want to 10x your business over the next 3 weeks and have to start all over a month from now? Or would you like 6 months from now to have every single day be bigger than the person who keeps sprinting and dying, sprinting and dying, sprinting and dying? The end of the game, this game is ultimately a marathon. If every single day gets bigger and bigger, if you can go from 100 a day to 1,000, from 500 a day to 10,000, from 2,000 a day to 20, isn't that so much more important than going from 50 a day to 500 and starting all over again? And I'll end on this. The reason that you see really big businesses launching so many ads has very little to do with that being the reason that they got to that place. You can't copy $1 billion brand to understand how they got there. If you're not spending $1 million a month, you shouldn't be copying people making 100 million a year. What they're doing now has so much more to do with people needing to be busy, with concepts being pushed out, with levels of complexity and growth and questions being answered. And honestly, just the best people aren't working there anymore because the best people to grow that business are already doing something else. You have to understand that keeping a train on the track is very different than what gets it to that place. And so understanding how to create unicorns over and over is a far more valuable skill than understanding how to keep one alive. Because keeping one alive is just busy work. And most of the people that you will see talking about launching thousands of ads and promoting everything with cost caps and anything that makes a positive ROAS and all of this other stuff, the folks who don't ever talk about the customer journey or the relationship with the platform, those are the folks who A, get paid based on the level of complexity they can deliver. B, often they have creative agency services. And C, they're never focused on the overall growth of the business. They're saying, look at my ad account as the business grows. And your job as a top of funnel marketer, which is what Meta is, has very little to do with the efficiency of the first sale. It has everything to do with the efficiency and stability of acquiring new customers that buy more than once. This is what you need to understand. And something that literally nobody else is talking about. But hey, I am. That's what we do here. So anyway, let's get into it. Thank you, by the way, for all the congratulations and everything. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So with that all being said, we've got some questions. And if you have any questions on this matter, by the way, or any questions at all, please feel free to go to YouTube on any of the videos and just go ahead and ask your questions. Because this is what we do here. We drop truth, and then we pull up the YouTube. We pull up the community tab. By the way, scan that right down there, Disruptor Academy. I'm going to just make sure this works. I'm going to scan it with my phone. Here's how we do it, right? You can take your phone, and you can go right to that QR code. Let's see that right there. Awesome. Okay. And then, okay, here we go. And what comes up? Hey, it comes up to Disruptor Academy. Awesome. So you can scan that code and it'll bring you straight to, you can join for free. Okay. Everything you need. We have hundreds of creative concepts. I will answer all of your questions. Drop into the thing. Just enjoy what we're doing. We're about to launch a challenge on how to get to your first 100 days. I'm going to show you my entire ad account. I'm actually going to completely rebuild an entire ad account from scratch to scale Disruptor Academy. We did it earlier this year, showing every single step of the way. We're on this live every single week. Is the only time I made any edits to the ad account. And we went from absolute zero to over $12,000 in 100 days. $12,000 a month in 100 days. So we're going to do it all over again. But we're going to get to a lot bigger numbers. All right. All that to be said, let's hide the comments on the stage real quick. And then come here and just get through all of your questions. All right. Hey, Charlie, great content. I have a question at the ad set level. I usually have 2 DCTs and 1 winning ad set. Love it. Now, whenever I get the winning combos within the winning ad set, I do see the budget going towards only 1 ad and it's not distributed proportional. What should I do? So one of the things we have to say here is, do you want it to be proportional or do you want the best result? And this is why we look at a 4PI analysis, right? Remember, spend, frequency, CPM, and overall efficiency, right? So spend, frequency, CPM, CPA. Understanding what every ad is doing. And understanding that not every ad needs to be a killer ad. Not every ad has the job of being the best to drive sales. That's not the ad. That's not the role of every ad. As a matter of fact, the ads responsible for the conversions are often a minority of the ads in your ad account. So, and I'm not saying that you should be running things. I'm not saying that the path is to run a whole bunch of ads that have nothing to do with making sales. My point is that the ad that is getting credit for being the last touch point, the very bottom of the funnel, is an ad that sees a lot less spend than all of the other ones. So what I would say here is, if your results are good enough to scale the budget, do it. If you have a problem, the purpose of the 2 DCTs is to solve that problem. And if you're winning combos and you're winning ad set, aren't getting a bunch of spend, but the results are good enough to continue to go, keep moving forward. And if your tests are soaking up budget and the net result is the performance is worse, cut them. That's really what it's all about. That's how we make all of this work. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's get to the next one. Learn crux. And yeah, by the way, I hope you guys love these account audits. We do these audits live, by the way, inside Disruptor Academy every month. If you want to be part of these audits, you can join Disruptor Academy. We do the audits for free for everybody who's a paying Academy member. Let's see here. What about promoting live event tickets? Same process. EVM, often it is. Although if it's a permanent event, so like a Broadway show, you can do that. If it's a concert that's going to happen once, we need to use a different strategy. We could use the same strategy, but the timelines, the conversion are a lot shorter. So often in those situations, I just throw up a lot of DCTs and then use the CPA to GPT matrix that we talked about in the last video on this channel to determine what ads to keep on and keep off. It really depends on the timeline. I do the same thing, by the way, for Black Friday. Learn Crux. Hi, Charlie. Thank you for all the material you share. I have just one question. If you have a broad lead magnet and VSL campaign, would you exclude leads from 30 days ago or more? Or would you leave them unexcluded? And another thing. So first off, wouldn't do exclusions. Exclusions very, very rarely make any sense. Why? If the machine won't get value by showing somebody that content, it's not going to show them that content. Like, this is one of the things that has never made sense to me. If we know the goal of Facebook and Instagram is to keep people on the platform for as long as possible, give them a positive experience, so even when they do leave, they're more likely to come back, why would they show somebody an ad they don't care about? Where is it good for a multi-billion-dollar business to piss off and annoy its users just to fleece its advertisers and give them bad results? That doesn't make any sense. So why would you use exclusions that inherently raise your CPMs? I wouldn't do it. It's a workshop that has high ticket coaching at the event, short time for the event. Yeah, I mean, if the event repeats over and over again, then I could use the same process. If it's a one-off event every single time, if it's a repeatable event, I'd probably use the same ads. If it's just a one-time thing, we would need, I would probably wouldn't do a short time. I would definitely, like, if it's that high ticket when it's in person and all that other stuff, we're not ramping up ads at like 2 weeks. We probably have a month or so. But let me know and join in the academy and we can walk through your structure. I would love to see that. Just jump on in for free and we'll get you to where you need to be. Would you do remarketing and ads for people who registered to watch the VSL? I've seen many campaigns with hundreds of ads that no longer retarget the VSL, but only advertise the lead magnet registration and scale with that. Yeah, I mean, the question is, I don't know that you would need to retarget the folks that are already that have already watched the VSL. I'm assuming that audience is much smaller and is more or less like an add to cart, pretty much already told you that they're not interested. Pissing off people who've already told you no. Disrespecting people is a bad business model, right? So I probably wouldn't focus on that. And campaigns with hundreds of ads, yeah, then what you saw is a campaign that has no ability to optimize and is focused exclusively on smashing people at the bottom of the funnel. I probably wouldn't do that. Is that how it is now? No longer worth remarketing the VSL and ads? I mean, if you have an audience and you're hitting them up for the first time with an ad for the VSL and you're just using that for your remarketing, that's totally fine. If your focus is to say to people that have watched the VSL, hey, here's another ad to come and watch the VSL again. Like you've already been told no. You should probably respect that. So that's my opinion. Adorable from a mom of 4. Y'all gonna need a bigger bed. Thank you, Ashley. It is that bed is in my daughter's room. Our bed. So this is I had a son, so I made a post about some of the things. It doesn't look like I'm be able to. Let's see if we can pull this up. Boom. So there's us in my daughter's room, and then there's my son. That's us hanging out in our bed or in the birthing center. This is us at the birthing center. Yeah, we didn't do a hospital or any of that stuff. We respect women, so we didn't want to push an agenda that's built around disrespect. And we got served breakfast in bed. Definitely, if you're gonna save money on the birth while having women, midwives, and all of that be the folks that help you build a family, might as well enjoy it. Okay, awesome. But that's me. I come from that kind of place. Congrats. Thank you guys so much. There's gonna be a lot of these, I'm sure. But thank you. Congrats. Okay. Jeff Lewis. So making 2 versions of an ad for placement in Reels versus like feed, or does the safe zone cover cropping in feed as well? The safe zone should cover cropping. This is from the media buying course. I shared a bunch of decks from Facebook. There was an event earlier this year where you had to be spending at least $1 million a month to be invited to that event. If you weren't spending $1 million and you went there, don't worry, I was, and I actually share all of the decks from that event. Every single resource they've given out, you can get from me for free. They're also all available in Disruptor Academy. Every deck that I get from all partners, you're able to see them. Because, well, if your name is Jordan Menard, then of course, every deck you get from a Facebook rep is gospel as long as it pushes your opinion. My view is that let me give you all the information, then give you the context so you can find the best solution for your situation, because I don't think that, every word from every salesperson should be taken as gospel from on high. But you can make 2 versions of the ad, but those will be 2 separate ads, 2 separate 322 ads. Do not optimize for placement. Do not put in multiple creative variations inside the same ad. It's an option, but it's not for e-commerce. It's for other things. Congratulations. Thank you. Really nice video. And if you can help, I'm good, man. Thank you. All right. Hi, Charlie. Why shouldn't we have multiple creatives for top of funnel, mid, and bottom? I think you should. How does it hurt performance? I'd like to understand the rationale behind that. Yeah, I saw this comment earlier, buddy, and I do think you should have multiple creatives for all parts of the funnel. The point is that you only need to solve the problem that you have. So there's some context into that individual ad account and the audit specifically. Your theory is interesting, but it completely misses the new update. Here's the exact wording. Andromeda is designed to maximize ad performance by utilizing the exponential growth in volume of eligible ads available to the retrieval stage. Yes. In other words, it explicitly states that Meta will leverage the enormous volumes of creative in order to improve performance. Yes. However, what it doesn't say is that you're the only person running the ads. What it's saying is Andromeda is designed to do better at serving a bunch of ads to people. But it doesn't mean that you should then launch more ads. Launching more ads has never been a good idea. What it's saying is that it's better at the retrieval process. And they had to build it in response to so many people spamming the machine. If you notice, what they didn't say was Andromeda was designed to work in an optimal fashion when you launch hundreds of ads a week. It didn't say that. It says it's maximizing the ad performance by utilizing the growth of eligible ads available at the retrieval stage. It doesn't say launch more ads to get better performance. It's saying it's doing a better job of reacting to the market spamming people. So, in other words, it explicitly states that will leverage enormous volumes. No, it doesn't. In other words, Meta has a better ability to handle being disrespected by advertisers. But that doesn't mean that you should be more disrespectful. Okay. Mr. Pranking Bros. Hey, Charlie, I have a question. My top of funnel ads are performing okay, but my mid and bottom funnel aren't spending at all. Didn't really test much for this. Okay. Does that mean I should create more at first because it looks like the missing link for the funnel now? Sure. My CPA has been rising over the past week. My top of funnel has been running for a while and scaled the budget. That makes sense as to why your performance would look worse. Would stronger improve the account performance, or is this to all create new top of funnel? I would love the idea of you doing Control 322 for mid and bottom funnel efforts to see, can we pull that spend down the funnel a little bit if the platform performance is what you're optimizing for. Conversion architect, talk to me when you're able to reach 25x. And look, man, one time I did a 250x ROAS campaign on $1 million doing lead gen for Nissan cars because, fun fact, ROAS is a completely bullshit number. Refreshing perspective on complexity and simplicity. I'll tune into the next video. Awesome. And a CBO with one ad set. Is it okay to have 20 good ads? No. That hit different parts of the funnel or start with fewer? Absolutely start with fewer. There is no legitimate reason to have 20 ads unless the entire point is to remove them and simplify over time. If you're going to run 20 ads, that's totally fine. If the whole point is I've got a whole bunch of ads and a whole bunch of campaigns and I need to consolidate so I can see better results that are more stable and projectable and predictable. So I'm going to put them all in one place and then let them duke it out. And then anything that doesn't do its job well or is too effective at a job that I don't need done, I'm going to get rid of. Why do you need 20 ads? That's my question. And people will say, well, so I can reach more and more people, more and more folks in the audience. You don't want more people. You don't want more kinds of people. And that's the question. That's the point. You don't want to reach more types of folks. You want to reach more of the best person. The more ads you have, the harder it is for the machine to identify who that best person is. So the more dependent you are on reaching anybody that already has the credit card out. So you're going to be able to push the budget up to some place of how much opportunity is in the market. But you're essentially, at that point, running Facebook ads like Amazon. You're not creating intent. You're just capitalizing what already exists. That's branded search. You could do so much more than that. It's effective. It's a sprint to that place, but you're never going to get past it unless you begin to understand how to be in control of your own funnel instead of just stealing from everybody else. And as soon as the market shifts, because you didn't do any brand development, because you didn't do anything to build up your opportunity, there's literally no way for you to recover. And your CAC is going to rise, your CPM is going to rise. And because you never built a business on repeatable cash flow, acquiring the best possible customers, you're going to go out of business because you haven't set up your entire funnel to get more and more people to buy more and more often. So you're going to struggle. You're going to look great today, and you might be out of business 3 months from now. Instead of looking good enough today to scale your budget and being 10 times bigger later. Give me the good enough to scale where I'm bigger and bigger every time on less and less work. Give me that 10 times out of 10. There we go. Since I learned this has been eye-opening. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is my breakdown on the Meta Andromeda. You can check that post out if you want to. It's far too long to break down the thing, but if you're not subscribed on YouTube, then you're missing the community post. By the way, they're all posted in Disruptor Academy like a week before I posted the YouTube community. Just jump into the academy. Okay. Hey, Charlie, once we allow the new Flex ad with flexible ads to run for 7 days, when is it a good time to test and add another Flex ad? Let's get rid of this, by the way. It's blocking the screen. Especially if we only started with 2 Flex in one campaign and having completed our 5 Olympic ring. I mean, look, you don't need to run for 7 days. If you're running 2 ads, what's the problem you need to solve? Are they all mid-funnel and you're struggling on volume? Are they all upper funnel and you're struggling on efficiency? Like, what is the problem you need to solve? And add up to 5, maybe 6, just to try to get some stuff going. But if you already have 2, solve the problem you have instead of creating ones that you don't. And as soon as you would know what that problem is, because you can identify where in the funnel ads are. And you can identify how the machine is using your ads. So you can get to the place of being able to predict the outcome then you're going to know what your problem is. Then you can make a plan to solve it. By the way, in Disruptor Academy, we have the Meta Blueprint course. And part 4 of the Meta Blueprint course breaks down all the different types of content you can run, where they all generally fit in the funnel. Not like video sits at the top and images sit below, but like actually breaking down the different kinds of images, the different kinds of video, and some fun little hacks that kind of do the in between, so you can understand what is the concept you should be trying to leverage to solve the problem that you have according to your 4PI analysis. We walk through the whole thing. It's gonna be super fun. You should check that out. It'll pay for itself. Super helpful indeed. Thank you for turning the black box. Yeah, Lucid. Yeah, we need this in a PDF. Real talk. This is, again, like, you know, if you're not subbed to the channel, you're missing the community posts. And if you're not in Disruptor Academy, then you're having to wait a week to get these kinds of things that everybody else finds a ton of value out of. All right, I have a 2-part question. Okay, when I enter my post ID for my flexible ad, I'm getting this message. This post cannot be used. Okay, this happens occasionally. It's just a glitch in the system. There's no way to come around it. I'm sorry to tell you. That's just the fact of the matter. Man, we're 3 months ago already? Okay. Do you have any idea of how this could be? Yeah, that's just the honest truth. Because of this error, I recreated the ads based on the best components. That's generally a good place to start. Now, a week later, all of the spend is going to the winner's ad set. Love it. And the GPT is lower than the other ad sets that it's no longer spending on. Okay, actually, it's been negative for a week later. Should I give it more time to turn off the winner's ad set? Why don't you put a spend minimum or max on the winner's ad set so that you can then throttle the investment that it's seeing, so that you can, in turn, scale the good stuff while not disrupting the machine. There you go. It's funny. This guy, Andre, who's one of those, like, it's my way is the only way to do it, and everything is blah, 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 cost caps, thousands of ads, all of this nonsense. He works for Tegra, and, you know, they have an agenda. He posted something earlier this week on Twitter, and it was like this, like, breakthrough. Well, I got the confirmation from the Facebook rep. Here's what he said. Campaign spending limits don't control pacing, but ad set spend limits do. Yeah, we've known that for a decade. And this is where spend limits on the ad set could adjust pacing so that the other ad sets could spend. Also, a lot of their theories, and I see this from Andrew Ferris, and it's come a lot from that, you know, for whatever it's worth. They set their budgets high and their bids low, and then put campaign budgets limits in place. So essentially, they're trying to tell the machine, I want to spend a lot of money, but not any more than this per sale. And then stop when I spend a certain amount. They're creating a problem, then installing a solution, then creating a problem and installing a solution, then creating a problem and installing a solution. Setting the budget higher than they can spend, there's a problem. So then they install cost caps. Installing the cost caps as a way to control the cost means that their system is more dependent on existing data than the ability to create new data. So their effort to control the cost actually creates a problem. But it also means that they could potentially spend a lot of money if that cost cap decides to just spend, and you know, maybe it does what you ask it to do, which is spend a lot of money, but it doesn't do it at the efficiency that you hoped. So then they put a spend limit, when you could just get rid of all of that stuff and put your best ads in a single ads, and you could do the one campaign structure with a daily budget, and then just automate the budgets up and remove the ads that are damaging. And because you're not launching new ads over and over again, the performance is stable enough to project and to predict and to improve. The spam the account with cost caps, folks, the number one issue is they're not able to measure the impact of their work. And that ultimately means that you don't know what you're doing inside the business. I don't see a lot of folks coming in. I think it's maybe because last week was I mean, we have dozens of folks here, but the comment section is light today. So with that being said, let's show some stuff with Disruptor Tools. I'm so happy, by the way, with Disruptor Tools. If you don't know about it, tools.disruptorschool.com. I'm sharing now the internal tools that I've been using for years as an available product for people. I think these are $40 a piece, $50 a piece, or you can get all three of them for $100. And you can see that we are, in fact, pushing in a 4PI optimizer. Anyway, let me show you what this looks like. Let's go to Customer Journey Insights, okay? Now, you can upload directly your Shopify orders or any business. So I'm going to just go in here, and we're going to take US Palm orders. Boom. Thank you to Chris Loveland for sharing his data. All right, so we were able to process 41,000 orders, I think that was. Now, the really fun thing here is we can say we have a return customer rate of 23.8. Sure. Our new customers. Now, this is, by the way, I'm going to rephrase. This is not a repeat customer rate of 23. It means that over this period of time, 23.8% of the sales were returning customers, but that was actually responsible for nearly 50% of the revenue. And the product driving the fastest repeat was this one. Now we're going to be able to filter this information here in a minute. Now, this is great because it lets you understand where your money is coming from. It's not LTV cohort analysis. It's not projections. It's actually understanding your real dollars and cents. So out of $5.6 million, we're able to understand how much money is coming from each pool. Now, this returning customer is substantially cheaper to acquire that sale than the new customer. And if you're mapping to the opportunity of getting a repeat customer, because you're focusing on running your ads to the item that has the highest second purchase rate, meaning you're focusing on selling the thing that's most likely to get somebody to return. And that's where you spend the most of your money, and you improve that customer journey. Instead of selling everything with the day one ROAS that's positive, you're trying to leverage the volume of opportunity to this thing. Then you're going to spend more and more of your money to improve the volume of revenue that you make from returning customers, so you improve the profit in the business. That's how you scale a business. And anybody running cost caps and thousands of ads will never be able to do this. They'll say, well, that's the purpose of the product and the customer flow. Sure. But if you're investing your money in a bunch of different offers and a bunch of different customers, you're never going to be able to optimize for this. And saying, well, that's somebody else's problem is negligent and disrespectful to the operator's bank account and everybody else on the team. Now, one of the big updates I want to push here is we had this just sorted by best, but what we've done now, because we had a bunch of feedback on this, is you can sort by number of first purchases. So now we can say, okay, well, what's the most commonly bought product and how do those people behave? The top three are this Infinity Quarter Zip. So your Infinity Quarter Zip is the number one selling product, and there's a bunch of different colors and sizes. By the way, yes, you can adjust up here. You can edit the mapping of your stuff. So you can change that so that they're all one product if you want. So we get down to not each variation, but the actual SKU of the Infinity Quarter Zip could just be summed up into one item. What's really interesting, though, when you break it out by this, drift is the most popular color. Cool. The purchase rate by size and this time. So the XXL has the highest second purchase rate. Nearly 1/3 of those customers come back and buy again, and they do so in about 50 days. Now, the interesting thing is we can see where other sizes are. The large, 20%, 70 days. XL, 25%, 72. Okay, well, how does this play out against other offers or against other products? Well, when we look at the tribe, the XL versus the large. Well, the XL has a higher second purchase rate, and the time to second sale is basically the same. It's within a week of the large, 53 to 58. Okay, higher second purchase rate, essentially the same average days. Okay, so let's keep going down. What if we just focus on sorting by second purchase rate? You're going to get a whole bunch of stuff. This is where the real trick is. Sort by number of second purchases. This is where it gets really fun. And it's almost always tied to the number of first, but you can see this item at 100 has more second purchases than this at 128. Now, what do you notice when you look at this right away? XL, XXL, XL, XL, XXL, XXXL. What do we notice? The larger product, the item that is made for a bigger person, has more second purchases. The most ideal customer is somebody buying an XL or an XX or a triple XL. They're the folks who are more likely to buy a second time. And fun fact, The double X versus the large. Sure, this is an anomaly, 47 to 67. Okay, that's one data point. Sure. The triple X versus the X, 50 to 62. Okay. You could also say 50 to 53. Okay. Now, the medium is interesting, but it's one medium out of all of these other ones. This is how you run a business. If I'm running this business, there's one thing I'm going to do, Chris. I am exclusively going to start featuring larger men and women in my ads. I want to attract the attention of somebody who's likely to buy this product. Now, if I want to search products, XXL. Oh, I didn't need to. Sorry, I have my, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I can search by XXL in here. Look at this. 20, 30, 40, 24, 31. I'm liking these numbers. Okay. So that means basically if I sell a double, a triple XL, 1/3 of my customers are going to come back and buy again in 50 days or less. What if I focus on a medium? Less than 25%, and they're going to come back faster. But okay, it's way less people. And to be fair, they represent a much smaller percentage of my overall sales. I'm not going to feature fit people in my ads. Here we go. Problem solved. This is how you scale a business. This is one fun thing. By the way, also we have the view mode. Understanding what this stuff looks like, you can now break it down over time. This is a percentage of sales by volume in the business. Okay. Then you can get your monthly breakdown. So this is the number of customers and the percentage of and the number of revenue. Returning customers spend more money than new ones do. This is a very good business. Focusing on the profitability of the first sale is terrible for the growth of this business. Focusing on the people most likely to buy a second or third time, that's the path. That's how we get this business to go fucking bonkers. Anyway, that's Disruptor Tools. You can find it at tools.disruptorschool.com. All of that fun stuff. And yeah, that's about it for the day. Let's see. Do we have this other thing here? Let's just see here real quick if we got any other questions on YouTube. Yeah, people weren't really digging the new video, so they didn't jump on it. Okay, we do have one more thing here. Let's get to present, share screen, YouTube, boom. All right. Okay, we do have a couple other questions here. Do I think artificial intelligence will replace the profession of the media buyer? No. AI has been a core part of how media buying has been functioning for over a decade. We leverage AI. If you have a factory with only robots on the floor, somebody still needs to build the robots. Somebody still needs to tell the robots what to do. Your job should not be doing the media buying. And that's what this video is all about. By the way, an updated version of this video is coming out either in a week or in 2 weeks, depending on how it looks. I might launch it next week. I might launch it 2 weeks from now. We'll see how Monday's video goes. But how to do all of this in 2026. So, bunch of fun stuff. Now, how do you read the KPIs on each ad within a Flex ad? You don't. You just see the Flex ad, and that's all that you need to care about. Why is Andromeda AI suddenly showing one of my 6 ads with the worst GPT almost exclusively? And does it help the algorithm to label the ads? It does not help. Your nomenclature of the ad name doesn't help the machine at all. But what I'm guessing is the machine is showing your ad, your top of funnel ad, more often than it's showing your mid or bottom. There's something about the ad that's soaking up all the spend that the machine likes. And if you want a 4PI analysis against that, which we show how to do in this video, and also down in Disruptor Academy, break it all the way down so that you can understand exactly what you need to do. You'll probably be able to identify, oh, this ad is too good at prospecting, and so it's a liability to my success. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want. I want that clarity. Yeah, fun stuff. Okay. That being said, everybody, I want to give you just a quick little sneak peek on some things. Actually, while we're here, let's just do this. Present, share screen. We've been talking about it. Let's actually get to it. DisruptorAcademy.com brings you to here, school community. All right. Now you're getting it when you jump in, you will get 250 templates for free. You're going to get a whole bunch of stuff. Here's the community so you can understand it. We have a lot of memberships. So we're a very active community of people that post every single day. And a lot of the posts get, some of them get a few comments, some of them get dozens, right? We got wins and all sorts of stuff. Here's what you get inside the classroom and what's coming up. So you get the start here that helps you understand what to do. And right in the start here, by the way, we have an abbreviations guide where we tell you how you can get the community for free. We got some wins, a whole bunch of fun stuff. Also, we have our free course hub, which has a bunch of different, let's see, how to set up your ad account, how to scale, how to do it on a low budget, 12 years of advice, how to automate your account, how to make ads that convert, how to scale your account, and the stuff that you need to know lately, how to make a ton of content, and how to crush your catalog ads. That's all in the free section. You also get 250 ad creatives templates in Figma and in Canva, so you can copy and paste your way to success. These are ads that have been proven to work, that have spent millions and millions of dollars. So you can literally just sign up, join for free, download all the templates and bail if you want to, whatever, go for it. Also in the Meta Blueprint, we have a course that breaks down, the Meta Blueprint course itself breaks down 4PI. It breaks down unit economics, the 322, and the creative testing. This should take the average person about 4 weeks to get through, but if you want to burn through it in 4 days or in 1 day, you can. It's just that some of this stuff takes time, and I want you to understand that if you give it an hour a week, you're going to be in a fundamentally better place than when you started. We also have the Begin to Win course in here too that breaks down Facebook, just the 101, what you need to understand. We get into the business economics of stuff, how to find your hero offer, the 322 strategy, automation, the one campaign toolkit, and also more advanced stuff on how Facebook works and how to scale, plus the Meta MBA. Shout out to the MBA. It was fun to wake up this morning. I grabbed my son out of his bassinet and came back, and somebody jumped in on the Black Friday deal. By the way, Black Friday deal. I will honor it for anybody watching this. We are about to close up the MBA because I'm going to do a cohort in January, but we are doing a Black Friday deal. Normally the MBA is $12,000. The pay in full price is $10,000. However, if you mention it this call, I will give you the $8,500 Black Friday price for that. And somebody jumped in on that today, which is fun. We also have group recordings, so you can get access to all of the calls. So we've got 3 to 4 calls a week, and you can see all of this stuff from account audits to the profit clinic to ad labs and creative workshops, all sorts of fun stuff. And we are working on, also, by the way, here you can get the partner decks. So all the performance summit, the agency summit, all of the decks we talked about earlier, all of the things 100% free. And we are working now on a whole bunch of new courses. Plus, starting Monday, we're going to be dropping a masterclass a week on a whole bunch of fun stuff, from email to TikTok. We're jumping into Google, just SMS. There's so much stuff coming in here. I've got about 30 of these. They're going to be dropping over the next couple of months. Again, if you're a paid member, you get all of it. $147. If you're a free member, you can buy the individual masterclasses. We will make those available for individual purchase. And we are going to open up a annual plan, so you can save like 50% or something like that. And you get a free one-on-one. So it kind of feels just like, if you're not doing that, what are you doing? You're already here. Let's see them. Let's just make it happen. We are getting membership requests. Which one of these? Is this you watching on YouTube right now? Okay, pick the fruit. Approved. Jana Hicks. YouTube. Love it. Pick the fruit. Approved. Maboob. All right. Off of Facebook. Okay. Avoid the bots. Pick the fruit. Approved. Daniel. YouTube Live. You're watching this right now, Daniel. Hello. All right. Approved. Gianna. Charlie's LinkedIn. Okay. You're watching it live on LinkedIn. Gianna. Approved. And Jesse, you're watching on YouTube right now. You picked the fruit. Approved. Love it. All right. We got 6 more people just in the last little bit jumping in. Anyway, folks, thank you all so much. Doing seeing all of your successes has been so helpful to me. And I want to share one success story with you that we've had that just really kind of meant the world to me. And I just want to kind of share this. A while back, we had somebody running a fly fishing business. I've been chasing my ROAS for 2 years. He's a $2 million brand. Every time he tried to scale the budget, his CPA was too high, his ads fatigued. And he asked what he was doing wrong. And we broke down the customer journey stuff, what the software that I showed you, the customer journey insights, what this software does. And what has happened is we found that he was falling into 2 traps: buying validation with ad spend and chasing efficiency over growth, focusing on CPA and ROAS instead of cash flow. Bottom line is, and you can see his DM to me because I think, receipts matter, right? Bottom line is, he started focusing on the community of his business. He started focusing on understanding what the customers wanted. He stopped obsessing over ROAS and he started raising his budget by 5% 3 times a week, which we talk about here, seeing his way to scale. He went from about $1,800, $1,000 to $1,800 a day. Some days it was like 500, some days it was like $2,000 because he was running a ton of cost caps because he was a former client of somebody who talks shit about me on the internet constantly. Anyway, we got him in here, got him from 14 campaigns to 3, automated the budgets, focusing around cash flow, and now he's spending $4,200 a day. And the business has never felt healthier. His words, 1040 from 2 days ago. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. I just had a kid, so I have no idea. When did he send me this? 21 hours ago. So yeah, this was like yesterday he sent me this message. And this is what people are getting inside the academy. Like, this is what it looks like. And just like, what are you doing right now that is more important than building a stable business that is easy to scale, that is reliable and understandable, that you can manage? Why work harder to get worse results? Because people that don't care about your bottom line and have an agenda are showing you or shouting at you to do something that doesn't help you scale. I hope you got a lot out of this today. I've really enjoyed it. I just want to say thank you all so much. And until next time, I'll see you on the internet. I'm going to leave. I'll leave you with this. It means a lot to me that y'all are here. And it has been incredible to me to see the growth in all of you. I'm just going to leave this Disruptor Academy thing up right there for a moment so everybody gets a chance. And we'll say goodbye.